All right, guys, weekend is over. Monday evening, back to work. Hope you guys got some rest this week. We have a big, busy week ahead of us. We get end of the month volatility, FOMC. We got big earnings reports, and we finally are getting that pullback that everyone's waiting for on the 60-minute time frame. So, boy, put them all together. There's a lot of great trading opportunities setting up for tomorrow, and I'm going to make sure you guys have a game plan. That way you're ready for the best setups for tomorrow. Give you guys a game plan to make some money on Tuesday. And before we jump in and talk my favorite trades here for tomorrow, make sure you subscribe to our channel. I don't want you to miss tomorrow night's video, so make sure you subscribe. And if you like these lessons, if you enjoy these videos, do me a favor here tonight. Hit that like button for me. Give me a shout out down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for tuning in, supporting the channel. Enough of the intro, though. I'm a few minutes behind schedule here tonight. Let's get into it here already. Last couple days of the month of October. Now, starting off tonight on the 60-minute charts. NASDAQ and the triple Qs. I got the S&P and the SPY here. Remember, I like to use the 60-minute time frames to plan my trades for the following day. Later on in the video, though, we'll drill down to some tick charts. Tick charts are easier to plan the entry tactics for the following day. So we'll start off with the big picture on the 60-minute, and we'll drill down to some tick charts, and we'll talk entry tactics on the tick charts as we go deeper. What are the 60-minute time frames telling us right now? Well, you can see we're bearish overall. There's no doubt about that. But as I mentioned earlier, we're finally starting to get that two-legged correction up off those lows. And it seems like we're running right into some key areas of resistance up overhead here. And so it seems like we might be in a spot right now looking for that next short, right, going back down to retest the low. Now, there are some very important clues tonight that tell us the buyers might have a little bit more gas in the tank tomorrow. We'll talk about that and why I say that on the tick charts, but we're in the ballpark right now for where some bears are probably coming back in to whack this thing back down again. And we'll talk about the tick charts here in a moment, about why I say the buyers may have a little bit more gas left in the tank, especially on the S&P here for tomorrow. Now, before we dive into those tick charts and talk about entry tactics and entry strategy for tomorrow, let's double check the calendar for tomorrow because we have quite a bit to keep on our radar for tomorrow. I have 5 things on my mind into Halloween Tuesday, October the 31st. First of all, tomorrow's the end of the month. Anytime we have the end of the month, really that transition from 1 month into the next month, we always expect to get some volatility. So just be aware, volatility is expected to kick up here into Halloween tomorrow, and of course into Wednesday as well. Overnight tonight, right? Not tomorrow night, but overnight tonight, we're going to hear from China. We're going to see a lot of news from China on Monday night, Tuesday night, and Thursday night this week. So just be aware, right before midnight tonight, we'll hear from China. They're reporting their PMI numbers overnight. If you're trading overnight, be aware of that. Next up, we have the ECI number, the Employment Cost Index. That's an inflation number on our radar tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern Time. We then go down to consumer confidence and Chicago PMIs, 9:45 and 10 o'clock. Remember, if you're, and you know this already, if you're a student of mine, remember though, anytime we have big red star news around 10 o'clock Eastern Time, you best be paying attention. So if you're with me tomorrow morning in the morning trade room, definitely keep that on your radar. And then tomorrow afternoon, we have one of the 2 big earnings reports as we finish up earnings season. This is the last couple drops. We got AMD reporting tomorrow after the close. And of course, we got Big Apple, right? The big behemoth, $3 trillion plus market cap coming out on Thursday afternoon. We will come back tomorrow night and we'll talk about game plan for that AMD earnings, right? Semiconductors, chip manufacturing, right? The AI race right now. So we definitely anticipate AMD to be a mover here for tomorrow. We're going to come back tomorrow night, talk more about the AMD report and, of course, how we trade it into Wednesday morning. But keep that on your radar. They're right end of the month volatility. China PMIs before midnight, overnight. ECI at 8:30, PMIs and confidence around 10 o'clock Eastern time. We'll circle back tomorrow and talk more about how we'll trade that AMD earnings into Wednesday morning. All right, now back to our charts. It's important to know when the news is, but the money is made on the charts. Let's go diving in right now. Let's talk about my favorite trades here now for tomorrow. We'll start off here first on the Emini and the SPY. We'll wrap it up tonight on the NASDAQ and the triple Qs. Be aware, these two markets, the S&P and the NASDAQ, are very similar, so most of it is interchangeable. We are bearish right now on the 60-minute, but again, we're starting to get up around levels of resistance, top of that channel, and ultimately, really, you have to think that this prior low right there, you have to think that area, right in this area right there, again, this is very similar to on the NASDAQ as well, is probably where the most amount of bears are waiting to come in and whack this because of that previous range. And as we talk about a lot in our free video classes, right, those breakout pullbacks are very, very common. So we're bearish. We're starting to get that pullback off of that low. We're getting in the right area of where we should be looking for another leg back to retest that low. But let's go grab a look at the tick charts right now, because the tick charts they're kind of tipping us off right now. We might have another leg going higher here, even though I think we're getting in the general area here. Over on the tick charts right now, this is a 7,000 tick chart, by the way, if you're watching for the first time right now. And this is the 21 EMA. Nothing special about it, just a 21 exponential moving average there on the chart right now. We have on the S&P right now, on the tick chart, we have pretty much one big range. And if you guys are taking my free video classes right now, or if you're a student of mine in our trade room, we know that ranges act like magnets, right? We also have a very strong run up into what I would call a pop and grind channel. Now, if you guys watch these videos a lot, or if you're with us in our trade room, you know that anytime we see a pop and grind like this, we usually get another leg going lower. It's going higher in this case. That's a very convincing clue. And you'll notice where that puts us. That puts us up around that gap that's still left open from last Wednesday, right? But the 25th of October. And of course, up here is all of that big resistance we saw on the 60-minute. Now, let's face it, we're overall bearish on the 60-minute. I would love to short this thing back down into this trading range, but we simply may not get it. We may not get that until we get that next leg higher and then back down as well. So I want to talk about tonight here, as we go deeper into the video lesson tonight, we'll talk about, can I buy it going higher? I think there's one type of trade we can take going higher. We'll definitely talk about the short off the high, as well as if we were to roll over here, right, how to short this thing without chasing it running lower. So let's kind of talk about this right now. My favorite trade for tomorrow is to roll back down into that range below us, but we have that strong run higher, and so momentum is a big concern. In situations like this, when I want to be a short seller, but I have a lot of momentum kind of going against me right now, what I'll look for are basically bull traps to go back up or back down into that trading range. So as we're pulling back here, buyers trying once, buyers trying twice. I want to see that lower low in price, and that, again, these are called bull traps. We talk about trap patterns in our free video course. This is ultimately the pattern I'm looking for right now to trigger that short back down again. You'll notice it could happen here, right? We got one lower low, and two, it could be right there, right? That lower low in price. That could be the bull trap, right? Kind of a crown reversal pattern if you got students of mine in the trade room. If it was to roll over and begin to grind down, right, we may see a pop and grind going lower. What I'll do is I'll draw a trend line off the lows. I'm going to mark off a channel off the highs, and then think about, once again, right, that bull trap. So if you guys are in my free video course right now, be looking out for those trap patterns, those trap setups we talk a lot about in our free video classes right now. So definitely keep an eye on that. Those are the patterns, that lower low in price and that bull trap. And the reason why I want a bull trap is because of the strength of that momentum. All right. By the way, later on in the video, I'm going to talk about if we're lucky enough to go all the way back down, because I think this range could want to rotate back and forth, and there might be plenty of ways to buy low and sell high. So make sure you stick around all the way to the end tonight, and I'll talk about the reversals off the low there as well. What if we go higher here, right? What if we go higher here? If we go higher here, we talked about bull traps on the short side. It's basically bear traps, right, on the way higher. If we end up going higher, my biggest concern is not momentum. It's simply buying into what is clearly overhead resistance on a 60-minute bear market. So if we end up going higher here, I'm going to flip that pattern around and look for a series of higher highs in price and a trap below that low. So as we go higher, right, I'll be looking for, and again, in this case, right, looking for this to be a bear trap, right? It's a higher high in price and a move going lower. Now, I know that most of you guys watching right now, you guys know how much I love traps, but if you're here for the first time right now, this might be a brand new concept, a brand new language for you. You might have no idea what I'm talking about, but don't worry, I teach all this stuff in our free video classes, and I've got literally hundreds of examples of trap patterns, bull traps and bear traps for you guys to learn from. What I'll do is I'll put a link up here for you in the upper right-hand corner. Grab that link that popped up there and take that free trading course, because the strategy I'll teach you in that short video series will teach you a stupidly simple trick we use to know where the best trades will be every morning in our members trade room. But more importantly, once we know where the best trades will be, I teach my 4 favorite entry patterns. That way you can learn to time the best entries and start making money on your own. If you're not making consistent money right now, the markets are way too good not to be doing well. If you're tired of missing the best trades each day, hit that link up top there. Take that free course. It's perfect for someone trying to make the jump into full-time trading. And also be aware too, if you can't grab the link up top there, I'll put all the important links down the description of the YouTube video tonight. I'll put the free video course links. I'll put our trade room membership links. And also too, I post a lot during the week on Twitter. I'll put my Twitter feed down there if you want to keep up with me during the week as well. So I want to make sure we know that. Now, one more thing. If we end up going higher here, right, and we get those nice, again, that bear trap, higher high in price, right, and that bear trap going higher here, how would I sell up here? Right? How would you short this thing off the high? Well, what you want to do is, remember, anytime I'm trying to trade against momentum like this, I'm looking for those crown reversals. I'm looking for those bull traps, right? So buyers once, lower low, buyers twice, get that higher high in price, and that short back down again. Right? Strong signal candle, closing firmly below the moving average. We talk about this, of course, in the free video course. If we were to run up and then get whacked back down and begin to grind down like this, the key is whenever you see one of those V-tops like this, you don't want to chase it as it rolls lower. It's very tempting to chase it because that lizard brain of ours, right? It says, oh, you're missing it. Don't chase it though. Draw a trend line off those lows, bring it up around the high. And again, when we have a lot of bull momentum in an overall bear market, and I want to short this thing, the best trades are always going to be, in this case, that will be a bull trap above the high, right? Above those highs. Now, there could be some variations of this, right? It may end up popping above that high, right? For that bull trap as we go. It may end up getting back above the moving average. The buyers may come in, try to buy this thing going higher, and we may use a failure pattern into a pullback combination pattern going lower, right? So the key is if it rolls off that high, draw that channel, right? Mark that channel high and go looking for any of the entry patterns we teach in the free video course, right? Again, it could be a bull trap, it could be a buyer failure like this illustration, it could be a pullback combination. I got a lot more examples of those inside the free video course. We know where the market wants to go though, right? It wants to go back into this range and ultimately take out some of these big lows down below. And again, later on tonight, we'll talk about how to buy it, right, as it takes out that low there. The only other kind of variable on my mind right now would be, if we end up going lower, but we don't get the pop and grind, right? If it goes lower and starts grinding down, that's kind of the giveaway, isn't it, right? Mark that low, mark that high, and then short that, right? Short that bull trap above that high, right? That's a pretty easy one. But what if we sunk lower? Right? See, this is the one kind of variable that we may get tomorrow. I want to make sure you guys are ready for it tomorrow. There's a range right here. And we know that whenever we have a range breakout, markets love to break out pullback. All right? So we have to be aware of that potential. Again, there's a gap fill up there. We still haven't quite made it all the way into those big overhead levels I mentioned earlier on the 60 minute. So let's put it this way. I don't like that pullback right there because it's, again, we're an overall bear market. Not my favorite trade in the world, but we better make sure we're ready for it because I want to give you guys some tools you need to capitalize on everything. What will happen is, though, if we go lower into the low of the channel, into that breakout pullback zone, what will happen is the bears will come in and they'll try to force this thing running lower. Remember, anytime we see a strong move higher like this, we expect to pull back in a retest of that high. Like I said earlier, this pop and grind move right now is really making me think we're probably going one leg higher here. But of course, I can't predict the future. All I know is what I know right now. So if we end up pulling back on this and we start seeing bears trying once and we see bears trying twice here, higher high in price, I mentioned earlier, if we want to be a buyer like this in an overall bear market, we need to trap in some sellers, think about where their pain is, right? And basically use that pain, use those stops to fuel this move going higher here. So if we end up pulling back and we're sitting right on that breakout pullback, the low of that channel right there, I'm not looking to force that trade going short. Again, if it rolls over and grinds down, okay, now that's a different story. This is a very different story, though. Now we're holding off that area, trapping the bears in, higher high in price, that trap low. I like that trade overall. I just know that we're overall bearish right now, and this could easily roll back in to that trading range. But if we get it, well, then so be it, right? We'll take that set up, maybe a half size position instead of a full size position, right, for tomorrow morning. So be aware of that, right? As we go higher, we're thinking about those bear traps on the way up. And then think about, that 1, 2, that short back down again, or that pop up in that grinder going lower we mentioned there earlier. All right, I think we're looking pretty good now on the E-mini S&P. How about the NASDAQ, though? I want to talk about if we end up rolling over here. I want to talk about buying right off that low. I also want to cover a few more setups here that can also apply to the S&P as well. Let's grab the NASDAQ here. Got a pretty good game plan here for tomorrow. The NASDAQ is pretty much the exact same situation as the S&P. We have a very strong rundown. We expect to get a two-legged pullback and a retest of that low. We're starting to get up around the high of that channel. But just like on the S&P, you look left right now on the NASDAQ, and I mean, come on. You've got to think that this area right here is where most of the sellers are probably waiting, right, for that kind of a breakout pullback, right, of that previous range we saw earlier on in the month of October, right? So you got to think right now, yeah, we're bearish overall, and yeah, we're at resistance right now, but would it surprise me at all if we went one leg higher and then dumped back down? It won't surprise me whatsoever, and it shouldn't surprise you at all either. So let's now look at the NASDAQ tick chart. Remember, tick charts, I think tick charts make everything easier. This is a 4,000 tick chart in the upper left-hand corner right now. A lot of this is, again, the kind of exact same thing right now. We have kind of pop and grind run going higher here. And so whenever it pops up like this and grinds up, right, another leg is oftentimes coming, right? So as we go up, it's that bear trap getting in as we go higher. One thing I didn't talk about on the S&P, which I think is worth mentioning, is that if we were to get that next leg going higher, and again, bear traps on the way higher, we talked about the crown reversal, right? We talked about the 1, the 2, and that bull trap. We call these crown reversals in our trade room, right? Lower low in price. We talked about that. We talked about the V top, right? V top into that grind going down, finding that, right? Finding that channel and then hitting the top of that channel. Another very potential scenario here right now is that pop up, that pull back, and a retest of the high. In fact, we see lots of times where we'll get that crown reversal, right? We'll get the 1, we'll get the 2, we'll get that crown reversal, we'll get the short, but we may not get the big reversal all the way down we want. We may run into a channel here of some sorts, right? And the market may basically come right back up and retest that high. Remember, we've got what looks like some more space to go here, right, on the 60-minute chart. So if they end up retesting that high right now, this is when we start looking for those double top reversals, right? They're pretty simple. So at this point now, we assume the professional buyers are buying nice and low. That people who got in on the pullback, they'll probably take their profit off at that high. And again, we assume in that area, that's that big level of resistance I mentioned on the 60-minute chart. So if we all can agree that buyers who bought low are probably taking their profit, how would buyers get out of their positions? They sell their way out. And what I'll do is in this area is I'll look for rookies to get trapped in here. I'll look for rookies to come in and try to buy this too many times, right? Buy twice, right? So buy once, buy twice. I use the 2-try rule like this because I want to use their stops to fuel that run going lower. This is where one of my first trading coaches, my first mentor in this business, where he would say, this is a situation where everyone becomes a seller, right? Think about what happens in this double top scenario right now, right? Again, the buyers getting in, they're taking their profit up around this high. They are selling their way out. This is major resistance on a bearish 60-minute chart. You have to assume that sellers are going to be selling high because that's what sellers do. And then all of a sudden, buyers try once, rookie buyers, of course, try twice. These are not pros right here, right? Pros are not buying high like that. Once those rookies get long and they get stopped out, how do you get bounced out of a long trade? You sell your way out, right? So everyone is a seller in these scenarios. Profit targets off at that low, and better leave a runner in that case because we're going back down into that trading range. Again, a double top, right? 1, 2, double top reversal. Certainly something I'm watching here for tomorrow. And last but not least, if we do end up all the way down at that low, if you mark up the range and you measure the amount above the range, below the range, you can see where that puts us right around some key support levels here now underneath that trading range. Again, we may end up rolling over, grinding down, and getting that, what I would call kind of a pop and grind short, right? We may get that going right lower once we take out those lows now. Now think about this. Are we a bull market right now? No, we're not. We're an overall bear market. Does this momentum look very bullish? No, right? It's very bearish momentum. So if we wind up all the way down here, we're fighting against all of that momentum, right? Now, do I think this is a good spot to sell short down here? Do I think selling into support with a range ahead of big news? Nah, probably not a good spot to sell short down there. So I like the idea of being a buyer, but I am fighting all of that momentum. This is exactly where that crown reversal and that double bottom reversal comes in handy, right? This is exactly where you apply the scenario. So if we do end up rolling over, right, and running lower, again, I don't want to sell down there, but hopefully we'll see some traders who do. Once those bears get short once they get short twice. Now remember, anytime we see a strong move like this, we have to anticipate a retest of that low. So I don't just pick bottoms. Okay, get out of the habit of picking tops and picking bottoms. I would rather find an area I'm interested in for a reversal. And then once we start seeing the bears get trapped a few times, now we know where their pain is, and we can use what is ultimately a bear trap. I call these crown reversal patterns in our trade room. I have a lot of examples of these in that free video course I mentioned earlier. Notice how this pattern sets up though. It's a higher high in price because sellers want to sell as it goes higher, and that bear trap below that low back up into that trading range. Let's say we go all the way down, we pull back, we retest that low now. Now, what's going to happen? All the sellers who sold the pullback, they're probably going to take their profit, the big part of it, at that low, right? Then in come the rookies, right? I know this because I used to do this all the time. I get so wrapped up in chasing it as it went lower, I'd walk right into that previous low, bears once, bears twice. This, again, is a scenario where everyone becomes a buyer. Buyers are buying at support below a trading range ahead of big news tomorrow afternoon. The sellers who got short up here, yeah, they're buying their way out of that low. They are buyers. And then call in the rookies. Once those rookies get roped in, we now have their stops getting hit. If you're short, you get stopped out. Only one way out, right? Buy your way. Everyone becomes a buyer on that double bottom reversal. You'll notice I can be a lot more aggressive on a double bottom reversal because we have so many people either buying their way out of their shorts, right, or buying into the market to go back up into that trading range. All right. Boy, I'm getting excited just thinking about this stuff right now. Got a good game plan for tomorrow. Now we've got ways to make money. If we go up, we go down. Nobody has a crystal ball, especially in the world we live in right now. But the key is put the game plan together that you're ready for, no matter what the market throws at you here for tomorrow. Now, I'm sure I forgot something. I'm sure I missed some variation. I'm sure I missed something tonight. That's okay, though, because tomorrow morning, we're going to trade this stuff together tomorrow morning in our trade room. The markets are always full of surprises. So, of course, we do our best the night before, put the game plan together. But tomorrow morning, trade room, 8 o'clock Eastern time, that's the place to be. We'll update our charts. We'll avoid the big news tomorrow morning. And we've had a very good week. We had a good day today. A really good month of October, though. And looking forward to a Halloween trading day tomorrow morning. Don't forget, I'll put all the important links in the description of the video. I'll put the free class links, the trade room membership links, and I'll put my Twitter feed down there as well. I would recommend start first on the free video course first. That will teach you the basic fundamentals. You'll see a lot of examples of how it works in the video course. That will give you a good foundation to stand on, and hopefully sometime soon get you warmed up and ready to come out and trade with me sometime soon in the morning trade room with all of our advanced members. Questions, issues getting into anything you were talking about tonight, don't be afraid to call the office. If you got questions, if you need help getting access to our video classes, or you want to say hi, simply call the phone number, get us an email, or use that live chat in the lower right-hand corner of the website. If you need help, we are definitely here to help out along the way. Hope you guys learned a bunch here on this video here tonight. I apologize keeping you waiting here tonight. It was a busy day here in the office, a bunch of new student onboarding calls this afternoon. But tomorrow morning, I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Same time, same place, 8 o'clock Eastern time, the trade room. If not, same time, same place, back tomorrow night. We'll get ready for a busy Wednesday after AMC ahead of the FOMC announcement on Wednesday afternoon. Have a great evening. Be well out there. Be nice to each other. And you better be here next time. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.